I'm so excited to talk to you again. John Mars, welcome back to Canada.
Thank you, Meg Tucker Talks. I don't even think of you as having a surname. It's just one long hyphenated name, Meg Tucker Talks.
It basically is. I'm so excited that we're reconnecting. We've had this date now for a long time because you have a new book, which we're going to get to, absolutely. But to start this off, because this is being filmed in May 1st, happy May 1st,
Yep.
how is England right now? Because we're in this upside down world. So let's talk about that.
We are day 40 of this like national lockdown. Yeah, it's just very strange. The streets are very quiet. I've been out a couple of times in the car just to drop some groceries off to my mum. Yeah, it's just the whole thing's peculiar. Like I don't know what the shops are like over there, but over here you have to queue outside for everything. Inside the supermarkets, there are like 2-meter gaps on the floors. You can only go one way round. You can't go backwards. It's just really, really peculiar. We live in a little village, so we're very fortunate. We don't have any shops in our village, unfortunately, but yeah, we're very fortunate. There's lots of like long country walks that we can do with the dog and stuff. So in that respect, we're quite lucky.
So day 40, when you say lockdown,
Yeah.
that's it? Like most things are closed except
Yeah.
essentials? Okay.
Yeah. Just essential stores. Like there's no pubs, bars, restaurants, cinemas, nothing like that open. It's just literally supermarkets. I think a couple of DIY stores are starting to open now. That's just
So Canada right now is lockdown for sure. We just got word yesterday that things are going to slowly start to reopen,
okay.
which I actually send your emails to me. I think it's a mistake. I think it's too soon, but I understand that things do need to kind of carry on. Schools are
Yeah.
remaining closed straight through to the end of the year. So,
Okay.
or
Yeah, we don't know how long our schools are going to be closed or when lockdown is going to come to an end yet. But apparently we're past our peak, but we're still quite horrific compared to the rest of Europe. I think we'll be on target to be like one of the worst hit with deaths in most of Europe at this rate.
it's unbelievable what
Yeah.
we are seeing. And it's just, I find that it's just so sad to see, excuse me, the stories all over the world that we really truly are all in this. It's not just Canada, it's not just the United States, so it's been scary, it's been sad, it's been humbling. I think I work from home, and
Yeah.
then I was off with knee surgery for 3 months, and of course the day where I can finally get out again, they tell me to stay in. So it's been a little bit wild. I feel a little bit like Maggie in your new book. Do you like that, John? I'm not locked in the yeah.
Are you reading much during the time out? Because I'm a member of like quite a few online book clubs, and there are a lot of people who are just catching up on their TBRs, on their TBR lists. But there are also a lot of people who are regular readers who just can't concentrate on books at the moment. And
I
I think I'm one of those. I've got a couple of audio books on the go, but I'm really struggling to actually sit down and read a book.
I love that you just said this, because of course this is going to be in our book club. I put a post out to the gang saying we were pausing bringing in new books that people have to go out and purchase until we're really allowed to purchase. And now you can download online and buy online, and that's fine. But we kind of all said, why don't we for the next few months share just what we're reading?
Yeah.
And it's been crickets. And I will say that I've got about 4 books that I need to read, that I want to read, that I am struggling to read. And I default to Netflix, and I default to
Yes.
Amazon Prime. And I'm like,
Yes.
Meg, your brain is dying. Start
Yeah.
reading. And I know that once I probably get into a book, I'll be good.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to read lately.
I think
Why?
Tiger King's ruined everything for me because we binged on that, and then Ozark. I've never watched that before, and oh my god, I blitzed the whole thing in about 10 days, I think.
So you got to the end of, you've seen it all?
I've seen all of Ozark to date, all 3 seasons. Are you thinking about that last 30 seconds of
I'm
episode
like,
10?
no
Last seconds?
spoilers, but
Ah,
whoa.
yeah,
I saw your tweet when you said, I think I'm going to start watching Ozark, and then
yeah,
seeing the thread of people saying, hang on. Season one was amazing.
yeah.
I did not love season two, but
Okay.
we stuck with it. But three, woo!
I know it's just so ah yeah, it's my favorite.
And
I'm
Jason,
gutted that I've finished it. I'm
yeah,
really saddened that I've finished it now.
Jason Bateman was interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel, and so obviously said, "Well, clearly we need more, right? It's you're going to season four. You can't leave at that."
Yeah,
And said, "Yeah, we don't have the word yet, but yeah." So
yeah.
yeah, wild. Tiger King. Let's discuss.
He's amazing.
And
He's just
you,
amazing. It's just what I
what
don't even know how to
what
describe it. Yeah, it's hard to describe, isn't it? I was like trying to sum it up to one of my neighbours about why they've got to watch it, and you can't. It's just you've got it's there to be experienced.
and I would say so. I got someone told me to watch it, so I was a couple days late to the game, and then I started, and I'm pretty sure for the first three episodes I was just like this,
Uh-huh.
like the whole time I'm watching it. Because I'm asking you, a thriller author, book author, do you think Carol Baskin did it? Do you think she killed her husband?
Everybody I've spoken to says they think that she did, but I don't. I don't think she did.
You don't.
Then how did he suddenly just go missing? I don't know, but I have got into a really bad habit of first thing in the morning saying, "Hey, you crazy cats and kittens." It's a really bad habit now.
I love it. But there's the question of, did she, oh, it's so twisted. Did she put him through the meat grinder? Ooh. And then she's laughing when she's telling the story, and she's like, I mean, ha ha ha, why would I? Like, she's off her rocker. And then, but then you saw the other guy who interviewed, he was talking to camera, and he was talking to her disappeared ex, who said, if I can pull this off, this will be the greatest thing I've done. And that was haunting, because I'm thinking, but what did he put, like, it, where is he, how did he
Yeah,
disappear? And he couldn't have flown the plane to, where is he?
yeah. The thing is, if I had written the plot for the Tiger King, if I'd written this book, nobody would have bought it. It would have been people would have been. This is ridiculous. It's the most stupid thing I've ever read. But it works. It's just amazing.
It's
Very
amazing. The entire world watched.
and because of the timing. So over here, it was the first day of the lockdown started, so everybody just started watching Netflix.
Yeah.
And so I think something like 64 million have watched it up to date. I'm kind of like, because we spoke before about the one, and that is obviously being filmed. That has been filmed for Netflix. That's all done and dusted now, and it would finish, I think, just before Netflix announced that they were ceasing production of all productions during, like, because of the virus. So I was very fortunate that that's all done. It's now in the editing suite. I think it's got to be delivered to Netflix by July, when it's subtitled and dubbed into about 150 different languages, and then it debuts worldwide in the autumn. I haven't got exactly, but just the autumn.
I just choked. I breathed in so hard. I choked. It's so exciting. So we obviously featured your book, The One, and then we made a very big, excited announcement that it was coming to Netflix. So it is going to be worldwide. It just won't be The One UK. It'll
Yeah,
be everywhere.
it'll be worldwide. Yeah. Did I tell you I went on sets?
Okay, so I saw that you went on set, but I
Yeah.
don't know anything about it. So tell us what that was like.
I can only tell you brief detail because I'm not allowed to go into
Okay.
much detail about the cast or anything like that. But all I
How
can
did
say was just
how did they treat you? Were you royalty?
no. I was just like hidden behind the cameras.
Okay.
I was sitting next to hair and makeup and just like hidden behind, just keeping myself to myself. There
Okay.
was one point I was just watching what was going on. I'm thinking this crazy idea for a book that I had about 4 years ago, and now I'm sitting on set watching it being filmed. I know it's going to be very different to the book version, because adaptations can be like that. And personally, go for it. You know, I took it as far as I could with my books. It's up to whoever, you know, their directors and writers to take it whatever direction they want to. But it was just amazing just watching it and just really surreal, thinking, wow, you know, like those 60, 70 people in the room are there because of this daft idea that I had all these years ago.
Oh, that gives me shivers. But it must have just been such a thrill to just be there and seeing the buzz. And I've been on a set before, and it's wild, you know,
Yeah.
and just to think, this is my book, because it is
Yeah.
your book. Is the story, can you tell us, like, is the story, would you know it's the one, or is it completely different?
It's still going to be called The One.
Right.
I think it's
Okay.
I think it's basically, I'm not allowed to say too much about it,
Okay.
but all I can say is that, you know, it sticks with the basic storyline about the whole DNA thing.
And
Yeah.
you don't have to tell me, because I may not know them anyway, but is anyone in the cast that is well known in England?
No, I think it's like quite a new cast. It's going to be quite hip and cool, apparently, with quite a cool soundtrack is quite important in it. But yeah, I don't really know very much. They play the cards close to their chest. I'm just wanting to just grab someone by the lapels and go, just tell me it's my bloody book, but they don't.
My book. Did you casually walk by with your book going, oh, who, this? Yes, that's me. Who, me?
You might recognise me from my photograph in the back.
That's awesome.
I was a bit embarrassed than anything. I don't know why. It's like, I think I've probably still got that whole imposter syndrome going on where I think I do not belong here.
One day, I mean, that's what makes you humble, but one day you need to let that go, because what a book. So we've talked COVID, we've talked the one being made into Netflix. Let's talk about your new book. And I want to actually say, first and foremost, what's happening, because we're in this new crazy world. You've got your brand new book. Tell everyone what it's about.
Oh, sorry, that flipped into view. Sorry, I don't know how that happened.
I've read it. Thank you so much for letting me read it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's yeah, I mean, it's still coming out. It comes out May the 15th, worldwide. Yeah, I'm really excited by this one. I don't know, this one feels a bit different. I think I said to you last time we spoke about reviews and how I'm not a mad review reader, but I've been having a look at them on NetGalley. I don't know whether you ever used that.
Okay.
And Goodreads, and they've been like really positive. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe people like this.
So I'm going to divulge a little behind the curtain. You allowed me to read it, and I was so grateful and honored, and I'm so excited. And as I was pouring through it, halfway through, I realized, wait, there's no character named Meg. Oh, but that was before he met me. So I still have to wait for a future book to get my character. But I'm only teasing, kind of. But as I was reading through, I was thinking, you told me this one's really, really different.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that? Because
this one's compared to, because like when we spoke about the one. I think we talked, maybe did we talk a little bit about Passengers, and those are my kind of like high tech thrillers. They're kind of quite quick paced books. This one is more of a slow burner. It's a very claustrophobic feel. Basically, am I allowed to talk about the plot at all?
Talk about the plot, absolutely. And I'll put, when this posts, we'll definitely say, if you've not finished it or read it yet, that's okay, that they'll watch it when they finish. So let's talk about it.
About two women who share a house. One lives on the ground floor, one lives on the second floor. They hate each other, but every second evening they'll meet on the middle floor for dinner. And it kind of follows them on their journey over the last 25 years or so about why they dislike each other, how their relationship became so bad. And there's like hopefully quite a few twists and turns in there that will keep you guessing.
There are so many twists and turns, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I almost, because it was a PDF copy, I was reading it on my iPad, and I almost dropped my iPad when the first reveal happened, and
Okay.
I couldn't stop. I couldn't.
I've not told you about that part.
No. And so I was shocked, and I was heartbroken, and then I couldn't stop. Then I stayed up far too late, and I know I read the whole book in a day or 2 days. I mean, it was just, but I still think about one of the characters. Like, it's still with me.
Which one?
Maggie.
Oh.
Like, uh, it's
I
just,
hope, what I wanted to do is I wanted to get people to kind of go on one side of these two characters and then think, oh, actually, no, I'm on the other person's side, and then switch around so you didn't really know where to go, even, right up until the end.
I went to Nina's occasionally. My
Okay.
heart went out to her occasionally when she was at
Okay.
work. Hmm?
Just occasionally.
Just occasionally, but just, and it, you have such a good way of painting the picture. I mean, I felt like I was in that house. I felt like I was in that bedroom. And when you talk about claustrophobic, it felt claustrophobic, and then it felt hopeful when the little girl, the neighbor, and then there just are a lot of bombs that you drop throughout the book. A lot of them. So when you read it, you just be prepared. How long did that book take you to write?
That book probably took me about, first draft was probably about 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And then there's like lots of rewrites and stuff like that. And then once it was with my editor, because I delivered it a lot earlier than anticipated, I've then started on my next book, which comes out over here later on this year. And so I was working on that one right up until our son was born. Because we had a son who was born in September, but he wasn't due to be born until November. So kind of 2 months prematurely. So everything just went on hold. And I was hoping to get a version of that book done, but it didn't happen. So he was in hospital for the first month, but he's all perfectly fine. Just needed to be plumped up until he was like all kind of fat and ready to bring home. And then
Good.
I went back so I was working on 2 books at the same time. Then I was working on my new book, and then I was working on What Lies Between Us, some rewrites and edits with that. So it's all very kind of, the last 7, 8 months have just been one massive blur. So I reckon probably about 9 months in total, on and
Well,
off.
talk about a massive blur. Baby, books,
Hmm.
COVID.
Yes.
How are you writing right now?
I'm busy. Right, my book after this next one is not due to be delivered until the end of 2021. So I've given myself a year off. But I kind of know what the plot is, and so I've been sitting plotting it out chapter by chapter, and I've never done that before. And I've got about 6,000 words that I've written just of where it's going, and I was just about to finish it this evening before you and I started talking.
Oh my
But
God.
but
Wait
yeah,
a minute. So you're
pretty much
telling me that you could finish your book, but now I'm the reason your book's not getting finished?
just the plot parts, just the plot parts.
Yeah, I feel very important right now.
Honestly, I've never had the time to just sit down and plot out a book before. I'm more of a just go for it and then see what happens, and it seems to have worked out all right for me. But yeah, because I'm not going to be writing full time for the next well, at least for the next year. I'll just be doing bits here and there a couple of times a week. So yeah, I've got plenty of time to do it. It's great. I don't
Are
feel
you,
rushed. I don't feel pressured.
I was gonna say, are you nervous about changing the process and the way that it works for you, or do you think you'll come to it a couple of times a week even more inspired because you've had a break away from it?
I don't know. We'll see. Because my husband, he's going to be working 3 days a week from home, so I'm going to be on full time dad duty from Tuesdays to Thursdays. So Mondays and Fridays will be my writing days, but it might bleed a bit into the evenings of when other John finishes his job,
Yeah.
and when maybe even weekends. I don't know. It depends on how inspired I feel. The things I want to be there. I want to be there for our boy. I don't want to be missed. I don't want to be locked up in this office, kind of like Maggie's locked up in her attic. Nice
Mm,
plug. Missing him growing up, just
yeah.
to get this book about the way sooner than necessary. I've got the luxury of time. I've never had that before.
Well, and it's also lovely, that you now have a new chapter in your
Yeah,
world, and it's now finding a new balance of,
yeah.
and having a toddler, soon to be toddler in the house, that's keeping you probably very busy.
It's quite funny because most of my friends have got grown-up families and they're leaving to go to college and stuff, and then I'm starting at 49. I'm starting from scratch,
I love it.
doing
Love
things
it.
absolutely backwards.
What a lucky boy. And how's your doggy?
He's good, yes. He's not too sure about the boy. He kind of gives him funny looks, and when Elliot tries to stroke him, he just ends up ripping out chunks of fur. Like, no, gentle, gentle. But trying to tell a 7-month-old how to be gentle is not going very well. But no, it's all right. It's nice. It's nice having the four of us have been here. It feels like lockdown for us has gone on since Elliot was born,
Sure.
because it was just John and I in the hospital with him the whole time until he could come out. Then we spent like the first few months, we didn't really introduce him to that many people, just because of germs and stuff, and he was a bit vulnerable. But then he got perfectly all right. Then he's going out to baby clubs and this, that, and the other, and now we're back in lockdown again.
I know you got a little taste of it, and then
Yes, a little taste of freedom.
Little taste of freedom. Oh, yeah. So tell everyone about how to get your book, because I know stores, we can't really go into stores. So what's happening for you by way of your book launch? Normally you would probably be touring and book signings and...
No, I've never done one. I've never done a tour. I've never done a book panel, and I've never gone to a book signing.
This is fine. You're fine then.
Yeah, I'm in my elements.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've no desire. I love talking about stuff, and I love doing interviews like this, and it's great. And I go to a few book events, but I've never been on the stage of one of them. It's just not my thing, Meg. I've just not really ever fancied it. I've finally agreed to do a book festival only about an hour away from here early next year.
Yeah.
And it's only be a really kind of small one, so I'm going to dip my toe into it, but that's about it. So the books, this book's only going to be available on Amazon, and I think for the first month it's in one of those like best of the month things that Amazon do, and it's going to be I think it's only going to be like $2.49 or something like that for the first month.
This book?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think I hope I haven't got that wrong. I know over here it's they're basically, because the kind of book market has been a bit of a peculiar place the last month or so with the virus. So I think they're just putting it out at a reasonable price, and then it'll change after that first month.
I think that's great though, and it's such a good, I mean, I say that about every book of yours that I read, but this one it's very haunting. It's haunting not in a scary book way. It's just, it's stayed with me, and I feel like
great. I'm happy with that.
When you read certain books, I think when I finish a book, maybe, I don't know what you're like, but either the story sticks with you, but when a character sticks with you, and I have her name written down on the paper beside me, and just makes me sad.
Oh,
Thanks a lot.
do you think she kind of deserved some of the stuff that happened to her?
You know what?
It's really boring for people who haven't read it.
No, because then you'll come back. Yes. I mean, listen, neither one of them are angels, and it was a real look into what would you do if you were in a situation like that, faced with having to make ridiculously unthinkable choices, and then sometimes books don't always end a happy ever after, and it's sort of one of those books that leaves you with, again, I feel like if this were a movie, because it should become a movie, at the end of the theater when it fades to black, I feel like you would still sit in your seat and go, like, you would hear a pin drop in the theater, and people would just have to process, and then there would be not a lot of talking on the way out. It would just be heavy.
Did I tell you it has been optioned?
No.
This.
What?
It was. So I got an email. So when Elliot was in hospital, and we'd moved to the area where he was born, for temporarily, and we'd get up in the middle of the night just to phone the hospital, make sure he was okay, then go back to sleep again. Then we'd be there from 8 till 10 at night. But I got a message from my agent at CAA, who deals with like the TV and film side of things, and it was a really brief email, and it just said, Renée Zellweger's production company wants to make you an offer. And I'm like, what the bleep?
Now I'm recalling you did mention that, and I think I freaked out What?
So yeah, her company has optioned it. So I think they have about 18 months to try and get it into development and to try and turn it into something. So
That
if it does, that would be amazing because she is just like, she's Renee Zellweger. She's, she's
okay,
brilliant.
so if it's her, even if it's her company, we're going to assume that she's going to play one of them, right?
Well, no, because she was in that thing for Netflix, wasn't she? That was her production company. Can you remember what
Yes,
it's
and
called?
it
What
was.
If? What?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
which
that's
was
what it was called. That was wild. Did you watch
that
it?
was crazy. Yeah, that was mad.
Matt.
Reminded me very much of Revenge. Did you ever watch Revenge?
Yes,
Yeah.
Revenge was good. Um, okay, so would she be Nina? Yeah.
I don't know because she's what? Renee's what, in her mid 40s now?
Hmm.
So they'd either have to, she would work as Nina. I think she'd be way too young to play Maggie, but I don't
Right,
know. Hmm.
right. Oh, so
Trying to
okay,
picture it, aren't you?
if she played Nina, who would play? Because I do this with every book I read. Who would play Maggie? Who would make a good Maggie?
I guess it depends on also where it would be set and whether it would be set in the UK or set in the US.
And
So
and then you Brits have a way of doing very great American accents. Who would
I,
be
I do like Meryl Streep, but obviously I'm
right?
aiming a bit high there. She's
What about
amazing.
Helen Mirren? Or
Helen Mirren.
is she
Yeah.
too fancy for like I
No,
mean she could play anything but
yeah, I think Helen Mirren could just read a phone directory and I'd go and
right?
watch that. I think she's incredible.
Oh, Meryl Streep would be unbelievable.
Mm.
Okay, now my brain's saying, oh, this is exciting. But does this, I know you are so humble and I know you just don't get in your own head, but do you stop and take a minute and think, I wrote the one, it's going to be Netflix. I
Uh,
wrote this book, Renee Zellweger wants it. And how do they want it? How did they get it? Who sent it to her to read?
because my agent sent it to her production company. They were just pitching it out to a few places, and yeah, they made an offer.
And
And
that's how that works.
yeah, because there are some production companies that are just like vacuums, and they just suck all these scripts or all these books and stuff, and then nothing ever happens with them. And then the rights end up going back to the authors. So I did ask, what's their strike rate like? And their strike rate is quite high. They don't buy a huge amount in. So fingers crossed. These things go in and out of development all the time. I mean, the one took about 3.5 years to get to where it is now, so it's a long old process. So I just really hope that yeah, she can turn it into
They
something.
will. I really feel strongly they will. And I am such a movie fan and I obviously also love books. But when I read it, it just, when you read a book, you're just like, this could be a movie, like easily be a movie.
I think that's how I try and write a lot of my books, with a cinematic approach, because I watch a lot of films and TV series. I worked as a journalist,
Right.
going on TV sets a lot, watching a lot of TV to write about. So yeah, I think that's how my mind works. Because my next one is preliminary. Can't talk. The early version of it's called The Minders. And again, that's quite a cinematic, and that's very, very different to What Lies Between Us. It's more along the continuation of the one and the passengers, and it's yeah, that's quite. I'll have to send that to you. I've got an
Yes.
early version of that.
Yes.
Hardly anybody's read that yet. A handful of people have read it.
Oh, I'm totally. That might break my streak of not reading. I feel very sad for reading because I don't know why I'm not.
Well,
If
you
it's
might have
focused.
so much that it'll ruin you for good.
Yeah, right. It's all good. It's all good. So I want to just take you quickly back to when you were a journalist, entertainment journalist.
Yeah,
Tell
that's right.
me who was your worst interview ever
Worst interview.
that you feel comfortable sharing?
No,
Maybe
there's quite a few bad ones, but they wouldn't be known over in the US. They're kind of more British TV and reality stars. I'm trying to think of like American or Canadian ones.
worst, but maybe just like not at all what you expected.
I found Charlize Theron very difficult, but
I interviewed her too.
what did you think? Maybe I had a
I
bit of
was
a day. She was with Keanu at the time. They were promoting, was it the devil? Something about the devil,
uh-huh,
Devil's Advocate.
advocate.
Neither of them were particularly interested in talking, and
I
I found it a struggle.
I interviewed her when I lived in Toronto for the Toronto International Film Festival, and I believe the movie was it called North Country, maybe? And it was not one-on-one. There were three of us. She came in, and very, very nice, but
Yeah.
a little aloof, a little, just not what I mean. I've done interviews where, and I'm sure you've done a million interviews where it's this. You just feel like you've known them. It's just friendly. There aren't walls down. She was a bit guarded.
Yeah.
You?
Johnny Depp was very much
Oh,
like this kind of conversation. It
like
was
this.
back in that, yeah, I think he was promoting Chocolat, and we were in his hotel room, and it's back in the days where I used to smoke. And he just sat making me, we both just sat on his bed, and he just sat there making me licorice roll-up cigarettes with licorice paper. And like, that was one of those moments that what the hell is going on in my life, that I'm sitting on the
That
bed with Johnny Depp, but he's making me roll up cigarettes.
amazing.
He was,
I had okay, if I talk British,
uh,
I sat on a couch with Julie Andrews, and that was
whoa,
epic. I
that's
was
royal.
with two and this interview is taking a new turn, but that's okay. um I was with another friend of mine who worked at the radio station, so the two of us got to interview Julie Andrews, and it was for radio, so she didn't want cameras. She was wearing a baseball hat. She was so lovely, but
Yeah.
that to me was like insane. There were two that have been insane. Julie Andrews, because I'm on the couch with Mary Poppins and she called me cheeky, and I was like, God.
Uh-huh.
And Harrison Ford was another
Oh,
one where he was it was remarkable. And I think that's the only other one where I in my inside
yeah.
voice was like, just keep your cool, because
I
that's
thought, I
friggin'
thought of, I thought
Indiana
of,
Jones.
I thought of a bad one that I had. It was with Meatloaf. So, somebody one of his PR people told me, um, he collects teddy bears. He's a huge fan of teddy bears. Go with a teddy bear and you will get on his good side. So I go to Hamleys. It's like the biggest toy store over here in London. Choose one of these like beef eaters, like in their red outfits that
Yeah,
guard the equipment,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Chose that, put it in the Hamleys bag, and then went up to him and I was like, lovely to meet you. And he's like, oh. I hear you collect teddy bears. Who told you that? And I'm like, immediately, I'm like, oh, yeah, one of your PR people told me you're a big fan of teddy bears. And so, yeah, I brought you this. And you just got it out of the bag, just put it to one side. Said, you can take that back with you, but I'll keep the plastic bag. Yeah, plastic bags always come in handy. And so it just went a bit downhill from there, really.
And you just want the ground to
Oh,
swallow
yeah.
you up, because you're like, they're just regular people. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I had my very first, last story I'll share, my very first interview that I ever did. It was my first week of working at the radio station, but I also had to do stuff for the film festival. So this one was also radio. And it was back in the day when you used just a small MP3 recorder.
Yeah.
And Harry Connick Jr. So I
Okay.
go to Harry Connick Jr.'s hotel room, similar,
Yeah.
and I was going up in the elevator, and I was going through all the steps in my head about how to work it and how to record. And just as I stepped out of the elevator to his floor, I went to hit record, and it wasn't turning on. It was not recording.
No.
It was not doing anything. And I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I actually thought, do I just pretend that it's recording and then deal with the fallout after? What do I do? So the door opens, and
It's recording.
it's him, or it's his person, and they said, he come on in, he's here. And then they left, so it was just the two of us, and I'm
Yeah.
sweating and sweat's rolling down my back, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? So then I just took this deep breath, and I thought, you know what, it's now or never. It's like, this is your defining moment. So I said, he must have seen the look of fear on my face, and I said, I'm just going to be really honest with you. I cannot get this thing to record. It was recording right until I got here. And he was so lovely. He said, darling, he said, come on in. He said, let's just figure this out. So we sat on the couch, nobody else there. And for 10 minutes, it was not a celebrity and a scared reporter. It was just a guy and a girl figuring out how to fix a recorder. We fixed it. And then he's like, and now let's do our chat. And I thought, you, and I will never, ever, ever forget how kind he was. Can you
It's
imagine?
nice when you have a good one, isn't it? Yeah.
You'll never forget. And you
Yeah.
don't forget the bad ones either, but the good ones are just, I mean, thank you.
Yeah. No, I remember doing Enrique Iglesias once. So I had to fly over to Amsterdam for it. And he was lovely. He was really interesting. He was just as interested about, he hadn't really broken into the British market at that point. So he's asking me after the interview all about British singers and who his competition would be and that kind of stuff. And it ended up basically him interviewing me. But I had a similar kind of a recording incident. I interviewed, Tom Jones, the singer Tom Jones.
Yeah.
It's not unusual. Come on.
I was gonna sing it, to be loved by anyone. Okay.
And he's a legend over here. And I interviewed him, and it was like by phone, and I had my tape recorder on, blah blah blah. And I listened to the recording afterwards. Not one single word had recorded. It was all feedback. All feedback. I'm like, oh, crikey, what do I do? So I was literally sitting just on. I didn't have a laptop at home, so I was literally a pen on bits of newspaper, trying to write every single question, every bit of answer I could remember that he said. That wasn't fun.
Not fun. And it's that moment when you said that, I literally looked up and I'm like, oh God, thank you, this is recording. But it is. And then you get to that point where you're thinking, do I ask them to redo it? But you know what? What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen, you redo it, you reschedule it. So I'm getting better at, I mean, I had to get better at just being a little more real about it all, but yeah, some sweaty moments for sure when you're and it's not normally even them, it's their people, don't you find?
Yeah, definitely the PRs, definitely, they're a real pain. I just reminded me that I used to work with this girl, and she used to do all the red carpet interviews, which thankfully I didn't have to do that kind of thing.
I did.
And her secret, because you know what they're like, there's just a pack of media all trying to fire questions at celebrities as they walk past them. She used to wear a belt that went up for about here to here, a huge belt. That was her secret, because that got their attention.
Yeah.
So as they're walking through all these people and seeing all these journalists, and she would like be there with a camera, with a microphone or a camera or whatever, and they would tend to go to her just to ask her, that's a really big belt, and it worked.
Oh, that's
great
genius.
way. Yeah.
Genius. Yeah, you have
don't go back to journalism. It's always going to be about the belt from now on.
You have to be pretty aggressive to be in that scrum of media. Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, we have the Juno Awards in Canada, so it was, right, and I did red carpet at the Junos and a couple red carpets for the film festival in Toronto, and it's a little more sane in Canada, but it's still quite daunting.
Yeah.
And I'm not pushy. If I'm with you, I have no problem having a great interview, but I don't elbow people out of the way just to get a story. That's not really my thing.
Yeah. Since we spoke last, actually, the one just took on this entire life of its own, thanks to, now let me get the name right. Is it Indigo Chapters or
Chapters Indigo?
Yeah, they promoted it really well, and it ended up in the top 10 of is it Toronto Sun or one of those kind of big newspapers, and it was like really amazing. It's done really well over there, and I think the paperback version of The Passengers comes out in July time in the US and Canada. So fingers crossed that does all right over there.
I will definitely, well, they'll be watching, because one of the members of our book club, Dustin, he's been great. I've partnered with Chapters Indigo locally, and so as a book comes out, they'll gift a couple of copies to give away, which is really cool. And actually, Dustin, I think I had mentioned this, but you're gonna have to say hello to him here. He's the reason that I read the one, because when I was in Chapters, I bought 4 or 5 books, and I said, I think I want to start a book club. I did not know him at all, and he said, I need you to read this book. It's called The One. It's like it'll change your world. And so it's because I read The One, and then I interviewed you, and then he took a clip of our last chat and sent it to the national, like all of Chapters Indigo, to give kind of his full circle moment of how he recommended the one to me. I started the book club, I got to you, and you got back to say hello to Dustin. So
basically, Dustin is our matchmaker.
Dustin is our matchmaker, 100%.
No, Indigo chapters have been really, really supportive, and it was like, oh wow, that's really, really kind of them. So, Dustin, if you're watching this, thank you very much. You're a legend, and because of you, my dog can afford to eat food for that little bit longer.
You've made its day. Well, John, I could absolutely keep talking to you all day long, but I know you've got a baby and family and dog to get to and some writing. But it's so good to catch up. I'm glad you're safe. I want to congratulate you on behalf of all of us for not only becoming a papa, but for your birth of your new book, which is May 15th. May 15th. Let's see it. Let's see it. Is there a photo of you? Because I haven't seen the book.
I don't know, because this is just like an early version of it. So I don't know. Is there a picture of me in the back?
As if you don't
wish that upon anybody. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there I am. I'm looking mean and moody in front of the Tower Bridge. There we go, right at the back.
I love that picture, and I love that you say, "I don't know. Let me see," as if you don't know. There's a photo.
I don't, seriously, I don't.
Check. But that's the cover that I'm seeing online everywhere. So I know we talked about the one being different, maybe, or
yeah. This will be the same cover. Yeah.
Same cover. Okay, so May 15th.
Yeah.
Get your copies. Very exciting. Send anything and everything my way to read. Break my non-reading streak.
Okay.
And we will definitely chat again soon. Oh, I will leave you with this. Have you read, because I asked her about you, and now I'm asking you about her, J.T. Ellison or Lisa Unger? They are also two of our authors from previous books.
No, I'm aware of both of them, but I've not read anything by them.
Okay, so I play matchmaker, and I can't stop talking about you to them, specifically to JT. JT Ellison, oh boy, she's got, her most recent is Good Girls Lie, and it's all set at a private school, and all the goings on of, I'm terrible, I would not write a good synopsis, but it's twisty, it's turny, it's very cool. It's set at a private boarding school, and it's a very cool thriller. She's got lots and lots and lots of books, as does Lisa Unger, but you're on their book list. You're on JT's list right now. So you're in her list of Kindle books to read. So I will say the same. If you want to pick up books that are like ridiculous twists and turns, Lisa Unger, J.T. Ellison, that's two to add to your list. Lisa Unger's The Stranger Inside. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that cover. I really like the cover.
Even good people are drawn to do evil things. Amazing. This is Megan Golden's first book called The Escape Room.
Okay.
That one's ridiculous.
Look, I'm writing these down. Look, I've got little post-it notes here, Megan.
This, oh yeah. Nice. This was our first book club pick, and you were the second. This one, I still, when I talk about it, when I think about it, I could cry. This one will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Start with It'll Haunt Me Forever. That are different from your own books. I mean, I know you read. Okay, you kill me. Lie to Me. That's the first one we did with her. J.T. Ellison, Lie to Me.
I'm really bad in which I judge books by covers.
Look at this cover. That's her new one. Good Girls.
Oh.
And I don't know about this, but look at this. She actually signed it to me.
Oh.
So you need to get on that, John Mars. And then this was also a crazy book. Look at that.
Okay.
And that's an Indigo. They often do this where they do like a staff pick. So yours had a sticker when I got it.
Oh.
The Perfect Girlfriend. Yeah. So I have a lot of books that I need to,
Yeah, you need to get that mojo back, Meg Tucker.
Totally, John Mars. But we'll start with your new book. I'm so excited that we got a chance to talk to you again.
And
Um,
you.
don't
And thank you. I'm just going to interrupt you to say thank you very much for your support, because it really does mean the world. It's really, really kind of you. And when you said, hey, do you want to have another chat? It was a no-brainer. Absolutely.
So we will be sharing this, I would say, in its entirety. I don't believe we've offended anyone that's going to,
We've
unless you
still got a
don't.
few minutes left.
I'm like, unless you don't want your
Do what
meatloaf
we can do.
story, I can cut the meatloaf story. But I will be chopping little bits, but we're going to share most of this. And I just want to say thank you. You are such a delight. I say, I feel like you're becoming a friend, and I am so excited that you are starting a new chapter in your life, and just keep writing, because we will keep reading.
Thank you, Meg. Very much appreciated. It's lovely talking to you again.
You
And
too.
thanks again, Dustin. Cheers, mate.
It's all Dustin. Okay, we will talk soon, and just keep us
All
posted
right.
with everything.
Okay, we'll do.